Now let me ask you, so now that you've been on General Hospital for such a long time, do you have, which is great, I mean...
It's great to have a job that long,
Yeah,
but
I
I say
know.
18 years, you're like,
I-
what are you, 65? How old are you, buddy? What are you doing?
I have to say, looking at Steve's credits, I thought you were like 104.
I am.
You know?
Yoda.
Yeah,
Yoda is my brother.
Exactly.
I've been around.
But do you have, because your character is so established, do you have any input as to what direction the writers, how they write for the character, or do they consult with you?
Well, no, I wouldn't say they
No,
consult,
okay,
consult with the factory workers.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a boss coming down in the line. Hey, buddy, what do you think we could do better today? Well, sir. Yeah, I don't think it works that way, dude. I'm an employee,
There you
just
go.
like everyone else. But, you know, obviously, you're here this long, you work this hard.
Right.
You know, there's obviously a certain respect you gain.
Right.
You know, you don't just walk in a place and command respect. You have to earn it.
Right.
You know, and I have a great working relationship with them. I've been in this business long enough to know how to work storylines and take a storyline maybe a certain way, but obviously everything goes through the bosses.
Right,
You know?
exactly.
They'll definitely hear an idea.
Right.
I mean, the group effort is to make the show better.
Right.
So,
right,
you know,
right.
and that's what's great about Jill Phelps, who's the executive producer, and Bob Goose, the head writer, is they want to make it better.
Right.
You know, so, but I can't say, no, that storyline, no, this,
Right.
that just doesn't happen.
Right. Now, so you've worked with Robert Redford, James Gandolfini, you worked for Steven Spielberg, and you've accomplished, I mean, so many great things in show business. What was your first acting gig? Do you remember what your first...
Of course, I think everyone remembers. My first commercial was a Coca-Cola commercial that I had no lines in, and I was 16, and I made $5,000, and
Really?
I knew this was for me. At that point,
Really?
being 16 years old, and I was a waiter for a little while, and a busser, I said, no way. $5,000? Well, you're gonna pay me $5,000
Right.
to sit in the phone booth and act like I'm talking to a girl? That's great. But the first acting one was Superior Court.
Oh, yeah, sure.
It was, you know, kind of like, it was a reenactment show. I was so bad.
Really?
It was, I think I got the job because I went to school. I was in gym class with the kids, dad, who executive produced. I told him I was going out on it, and then I got the job.
Oh, that is great.
Awful.
Was
Horrible.
But was there a point where you said to yourself, you know what, I can do this business, you know, hands down, I know I could make it in this business? Was there like a realization? Did you ever have like that epiphany, like, you know what, I'm an actor and I can do this?
I think for me it was being naive.
Really?
And being young enough that the rejection didn't really bother me.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
it didn't bother. I don't think my brain was really formed 100%, like most teenagers. You know, when I was 16, I don't really think I had a full brain.
Okay.
So I'd
it was
go
the
out-
cerebellum was slow in developing.
I would
sure.
go out and audition. I wouldn't get it. I didn't care. I mean, there were some jobs that you really do want,
Right,
but it
right.
didn't really affect. Rejection wasn't going to be the thing that stopped me from continuing to go out on auditions.
Wow.
Because we know at some point it's a number game. It took me like 45 auditions to get my first commercial.
Wow.
So I don't think there was a time. I think that time came, that realization came when I was actually on this show and I felt that I kind of understood what acting was. A guy on the show, Maurice Bernard, kind of took me under his wing.
Right.
And he's like, hey, I see great potential in you. You got the raw instincts, but you have no technique. Because I didn't take any acting classes.
Wow.
I just kind of bounced from job to job and kind of, you know, would learn from certain people. And then he kind of said, listen, he had a few teachers. He's a real method guy. And then Howard Fine was one of his teachers.
Sure.
So he kind of, I mean, I was young. I didn't have, you know, a wife and kids. And I pretty much lived at his house.
Wow.
Where we would actually rehearse our stuff every single night, you know, and it was like being in acting school for me for months.
Wow.
So that was kind of the time where I'm like, yeah, I get this now. I get what this is.
That is so cool.
So
when you, it's so fantastic because you've been on a show so long. When you screen tested for this show,
that story.
Yeah, I would love.
You want to hear that story?
Please, please.
Okay, that's a funny story. First of all, I swore that I would never do a soap opera.
I love when people say that. You know, every
No,
other
actors-
actor is like,
right.
please let me do something.
I know. It's like because soaps were looked down upon
Right.
for some reason. That's what people thought. Oh, it's soaps. It's this and that. As soon as I said, okay, I wasn't working for a while,
Right.
and I think I was testing for MacGyver's son or something at some point, and I got a call for AJ Quartermain, who's one of the Quartermains. He is my brother on the show, and I was too young. I was
Okay.
just too young. I mean, I was 21 and I looked like I was 12.
Wow.
And they said, you're just too young. So Mark Teschner remembered me. They cast Jason, brought me in. It was a crazy time because I spent that room we passed, I spent more time in there than anywhere else in the building because the executive producer at the time, I mean, I would come in, they'd say, oh, you have a screen test at 6 p.m. And it would be 11 p.m. before we even saw anybody. Right?
Really?
So Mark was there. I watched the whole World Series out there. I mean, we were here for a week, auditioning and narrowing it down, and it wasn't really a true screen test. So the guy who played AJ originally that they hired was 6'1".
Right.
And Mark Teschner took me aside. He said, Steve, look, it's between you, it's between Eric Close and another
Right.
guy. And he said, look, it's you three guys, but she wants someone as tall as him. And look, I'm a Hollywood 6 foot, baby. I'm 5'10". Okay?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what
yeah.
it is. So I said, okay. So we went into the bathroom right over there, and I stuffed my shoes.
Oh,
Okay?
that's great.
So I put the lifts in my shoes. I was a good 6 foot and a half when
So
I
you
came
did the
out of
toilet
when I
paper or
came-
the
paper towels?
paper towels,
So I was a good 6 foot and
Oh,
a
that
half
is
when I
just-
came out. Sure enough, they're like, "Hey, they're on a 5 downstairs." They didn't actually screen test us acting wise. She decided, oh, okay, because she was kind of a crazy lady.
Right.
There was obviously a method to her madness because GH was so big.
Right.
And she said, okay, get him down here. So we get down on stage, and it was a 5, and the camera guys are just basically saying, okay, next, stand next to him. Okay, turn around.
Right.
Okay, thanks. That's it, done. That's what the screen test was. And then we came back upstairs, and Mark was like, to everyone else, "Hey, you guys can